Good Thursday morning, everybody. Hope you're doing great. Hey, weekend's almost here. Day and a half. And the weekend is back. Anyway, I hope the week's going good for you. We are going to review some things that happened the past few days here in college basketball, and we're going to preview what's coming up this weekend. Before we start, let's get to some news items. Before we start that, hit the subscribe button down there, wherever it is, so you don't miss anything. With it, let's get to it. Hey, BYU athletic director Tom Homo, he's retiring. He has been there 20 years. He's going to retire and I guess do whatever retirees do, spend time with family, kids, fishing, hunting, whatever. 20 years at the helm, and he is retiring. So, hey, congratulations on your career. Enjoy your retirement. Buffalo, they give their head football coach Pete Lembo an extension and a raise. They're happy with what he's doing there. They were 9-4 last year. Pretty good for Buffalo. So congratulations to him, too. Tom Izzo, he tied Bob Knight for record in Big Ten wins after beating Oregon last Saturday. 353 wins. Since then, he's yet to break it. They lost the game. We'll go over that. So he's still trying to break it. He's tied it, but he's still trying to break it. Remember West Virginia quarterback Pat White from several years ago? Remember him? He is going to come back to West Virginia and be the assistant quarterbacks coach under Rich Rod. I think he played under Rich Rod, didn't he? I think he did. So them two could be reunited. I could be wrong, but it's been so long, several years back. But so yeah, he's going back to his alma mater to be assistant quarterback coach. Florida forward Alex Condon sprained his ankle at the win the other night versus Mississippi State. They did x-rays. It was negative. Not sure when he's going to come back. I haven't read anything about that, but hopefully soon. And unfortunately, we're ending this news segment. Sad note. UNLV senior offensive lineman Ben Chrisman found dead in his apartment at 21 years old. No cause of death has been given yet. I guess it's going to wait till the autopsy. But Dan Mullen, he said Christian's transferred from Kentucky, brought a lot of pep to the team. Really tragic. 21 years old. Man, that's hopefully, wasn't anything foul play or anything, but man, prayers to him and his family and friends and teammates. 21 years old, man. That's just too damn young. All right, so we're going to go back over a few days, some things that happened that were pretty interesting. Going back to Sunday, number 18 Maryland beat 12-12 Rutgers 90-81. Maryland's Queen, 29 points, 15 rebounds. Rice behind him at 19 points. 16-8 George Washington beat 17-8 St. Bonaventure by 10. George Washington grabbed 15 more rebounds in that game. Villanova beat Xavier 80-68. Villanova, 12 three-pointers in that game. Both of them are 14-10 as of Sunday. 16-8 Nebraska beat 14-10 Ohio State, 79-71. Nebraska was down by 8 in the second half, battled back. That's the Cornhuskers' fourth straight win on Sunday. Number 17 Memphis beat 14-10 Temple, 90-82. That game was actually tied at 35 at halftime. Moving on to Monday, number 23 Clemson beat 14-11 North Carolina by 20. Clemson's Lakin, 22 points, 6 rebounds. He hit 4 three-pointers in that game. Clemson as a team hit 12 total three-pointers in that one. 10-14 Alabama State beat 15-9 Southern by 1. In Southern's 10-game win streak. Man, that sucks. 11-13 Northwestern State beat 15-10 Nichols by 12. Nichols actually led this game by 6 at half. 15-10 Lamar beat 15-11 Texas A&M Corpus Christi 67-56. Texas A&M Corpus Christi started the season off pretty damn good. They are 4-5 in the last month. Number 6 Houston beat 15-9 Baylor 76-65. Cougars had 28 points off of turnovers in that one. Moving to Tuesday, 19-5 Miami of Ohio beat 15-9 Toledo 92-80. Get this, in case you didn't see it, pretty freaking incredible. Cam Kraft from Miami of Ohio, 40 points in that game, 9 for 14 from three-point land. That is pretty damn impressive. Number 20, Michigan beat number 7 Purdue by 2, 75-73. Michigan's Wolf, 15 points, 9 rebounds, followed by Gale, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Purdue's Smith, he was the leading scorer for the Boilermakers, 24 points, 6 rebounds. He hit 4 3-pointers. Kaufman Wren behind him, 22 points, 7 rebounds. Michigan, 45% from the field. Purdue was 44%. Michigan, 18 for 26 from the free throw line. Purdue only 6 for 8 from the free throw line. Purdue had more rebounds, 14 points off turnovers, but they did have more fouls, ended up losing the game. 16-9, Cincinnati beat 13-12 Utah by 10. Cincinnati out-rebounded Utah 41-29. 16-8, BYU beat 15-9 West Virginia, 73-69. Number 10, Iowa State beat 13-11 Central Florida, 77-65. 14-11, ECU beat 15-9 UAB, 82-75. Eastern Carolina, 15 points off turnovers. Number 15, Kentucky beat number 5 Tennessee, 75-64. Albanor and Owa, 13 points each for Kentucky. Ziegler for Tennessee had 17 points, followed by Malik Jr., 16 points, 9 rebounds. Kentucky, 50% from the field. Tennessee was 43%. Kentucky hit 12 3-pointers in this game. Tennessee only hit 3. Kentucky, 11 for 14 from the free throw line. Tennessee was 15 for 19 from the free throw line. And Kentucky did get 12 points off of 12 Tennessee turnovers. Number 3, Florida beat number 22 Mississippi State, 81-68. Gators Aberdeen, 20 points. Clayton Jr., 19.6 rebounds, 6 assists. He also hit 4 3-pointers. Hubbard from Mississippi State, 19 points. He hit 4 3-pointers in that one. Murphy behind him, 18 points, 13 rebounds off the bench. He did that off the bench. Florida, 46% from the field. Mississippi State was 41%. Gators, 14 3-pointers in that one. Mississippi State only hit 7. Florida, 11 for 17 from the free throw line. Mississippi State was 13 for 19, and the Gators did get 20 points off of Mississippi State turnovers. Number 1 Auburn beat Vanderbilt 80-68. Vanderbilt was 17-7. Auburn 52% from the field and 19 points off of turnovers. Southeast Missouri State beat Little Rock 57-45. Both of them are 16-10 now. 17-8, Illinois beat 18-7 UCLA, 83-78. That loss for UCLA ends the Bruins' 7-game win streak. Kansas State, boy, what these guys here, 13-11 now, they just keep rolling. Beat number 13 Arizona, 73-70. How many wins they got to get into the tournament? I mean, I know they could blow through the Big 12 tournament, win that, but if they don't win the Big 12 conference championship, how many wins is enough wins to get them in that tournament? Because they have really, really turned it on these last few weeks. That's going to be interesting to watch here the next few weeks. 13-13, Murray State beat 14-11. Illinois Chicago by 10. Both of them shot under 36% from the field. 15-10, Indiana beat number 11 Michigan State, 71-67. Hoosiers, 13 points off of turnovers. USC, they moved to 14-10. They beat 13-12 Penn State, 92-67. Agbu for USC, 21 points. He hit 7 3-pointers. And Penn State started off the season pretty damn good, but they've just started slow, steady fall. I don't know what to say about them. Started off good, and 17-7 UConn beat number 24 Creighton by 4. McNeely for UConn, 38 points, 10 rebounds. UConn was down by 14 in the first half and came back and won that game. Number 17, Kansas beat 9-15 Colorado, 71-59. That is the 13th straight loss for Colorado. Maybe Prime needs to go over to the basketball court and have a word with them. Number 2, Alabama beat 15-10 Texas by 23. Bama, 17 3-pointers. They shot 62% from the field. Number 8, Texas A&M beat 16-9 Georgia, 69-53. Georgia led by 9 at halftime. A&M came back, outscored them 46-21 in the second half. Georgia, we've talked about them in the past. Great pre-conference season, and they get to the conference, they start falling off. They've had a good conference season here this last couple months in January. They're a good team. They just need to pull something together and get them few more wins because they are a lot better in this conference part of the season than they have been in the past few years. So, I mean, you got to admit that. 19-5 SMU beat 14-10 Pitt by 20. SMU never trailed in that game. 22-3 Utah State beat 15-9 Colorado State 93-85. Utah State, all 5 starters scored in that game. 17-8 Oregon beat 13-12 Northwestern 81-75. That win ends Oregon's 5-game losing streak that they were on. Northwestern's another Big Ten team, just like Penn State. Started off pretty good in the season and just slowly started sliding downhill. 22-4 St. Mary's beat 17-10 Santa Clara 73-64. St. Mary's 53% from the field. On to last night, number 9 St. John's loses to 15-10 Villanova by 2. Villanova's Perkins hit a 3-pointer with 8 seconds left in that game. 14-10 Iowa beat 12-13 Rutgers 84-73. Iowa went on an 8-0 run to end that game. There we go. 17-10 Youngstown State beat 18-9 Purdue Fort Wayne 93-71. 18-9 Winthrop beat 16-11 Radford by 4. Radford actually led that game by 5 at halftime. 19-8 Robert Morris beat 18-7 Cleveland State 68-59. Cleveland State led that game by 4 at halftime. 12-13 Georgia Tech beat 16-9 Stanford by 8. Georgia Tech's George 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. That cross-country travel, man, I just wonder how many teams it has affected in football, basketball, and we're going to see in basketball or baseball and softball coming up. That is a lot to travel for a game. Let's see, 16-8 Rhode Island beat 17-9 St. Bonaventure by 4. Not a good week for St. Bonaventure. 20-5 VCU beat 16-9 George Washington 80-72. VCU 14 3-pointers in that game. 16-9 Florida State beat 18-8 Wake Forest by 2. Florida State, remember, started off great, went on a downhill slide. They're coming back. They're 4-4 in the last month, so we'll see what happens with them. Still 16-9, good record. Get you some more wins. Number 19 Ole Miss beat 10-14 South Carolina 72-68. Ole Miss 46% from the field. South Carolina right behind them though, 44%. 10-15 Tulsa beat 14-11 Temple 80-74. Tulsa 53% from the field, 14 points off of turnovers. 18-8 Chattanooga beat 19-7 Samford 82-68. 11-15 Valparaiso beat 17-9 Belmont 101-86. Schweiger for Valparaiso 27 points, 13 rebounds. Right behind him had 20 points. Ohio State, they moved to 15-10. They beat 12-12 Washington 93-69. Mobley Jr. and Parrish for the Buckeyes, 21 points each. Washington used to be a great basketball program. They've really gone downhill the last couple of years. 23-2 Drake beat 15-11 Illinois State, 84-77. Drake, 61% from the field, 21 points off turnovers. Number 3 Duke beat 12-13 Cal, 78-57. Duke, 14-game home win streak. Again, coast to coast to play a game. That's just crazy. Number 12, Texas Tech beat 12-12 Arizona State, 111-106 in 2 overtimes. Topping for the Red Raiders, 41 points, 15 rebounds. Nice. 15-9 Arkansas beat 12-12 LSU, 70-58. LSU is on a 7-game losing streak. Number 21 Missouri beat 16-8 Oklahoma, 82-58. Oklahoma, another one of those teams, start off great. They've kind of gone down on a slide, especially the last 5 games versus top 25 teams. 1 win, 4 losses. And they need to pull something together in these last few weeks. All right, so upcoming tonight, 6 p.m., ESPNU, 16-9 Longwood versus 21-5 High Point. 6 p.m., CBS Sports Network, 19-6 Charlotte versus 20-5 UNC Wilmington. 6:30 on ESPN Plus, 14-10 Kennesaw State versus 17-7 Louisiana Tech. 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 15-10 Marshall versus 16-9 South Alabama. 7 p.m. on the Summit League Network, if you got it. 16-10 Omaha versus 16-9 South Dakota State. 7:30 Big Ten Network, number 25 Maryland versus 16-8 Nebraska. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 16-9 UC Riverside versus 14-10 UC Davis. 8 p.m. ESPN2. Number 14 Memphis, they're going to play 12-12 Central Florida. 10 p.m. on ESPN. You've got 2 good late games, and man, it sucks because, get up early to work tomorrow. Anyway, 10 p.m. ESPNU, 16-8 Santa Barbara versus 20-4 UC Irvine. And then 10 p.m. on ESPN, 20-6 San Francisco versus 18-7 Gonzaga. Too bad those games aren't tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, speaking of, a couple good games that might be interesting. 6 p.m. on ESPN2, 14-10 St. Louis versus 14-9 Loyola Chicago. 7 p.m. on Fox, 18-6 UCLA versus 14-10 Indiana. Moving to Saturday, 11 a.m. on ESPN, 14-9 Arkansas versus number 8 Texas A&M. 11 a.m. on the CW network. Number 23 Clemson goes to 14-9 Florida State. Talked about Florida State trying to build some wins again. Man, if they could get that win Saturday morning against Clemson at their house, that'd be awesome. 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus. 16-9 UNC Greensboro versus 18-7 Furman. 11:30. No TV was mentioned. They may have already put it up, or they might put it up the next couple of days, which is crazy because it's 14-9 St. Joseph's versus 19-5 George Mason. I don't know if they're still trying to find a place for that on TV, but I don't know. 12 p.m. on the SEC Network. 17-6 Vanderbilt travels to Tennessee, who's number 5. 12 p.m. on CBS. Might be a pretty good one here. Number 16 Wisconsin versus number 7 Purdue. Purdue's going to try to hang on to that number 7 ranking. 1 p.m. on ESPN. Another one. Number 6 Houston versus number 13 Arizona. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 21-5 High Point versus 17-9 Winthrop. 1 p.m. on ESPN2. 15-8 West Virginia goes to Waco, plays 15-9 Baylor. 1 p.m. on the CW. 12-12 Virginia versus 11-13 Virginia Tech. Good rivalry game for the state of Virginia. That might be interesting, checking that one out. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 18-8 Purdue Fort Wayne versus 18-8 Rob Morris. That's going to be a pretty good battle there. 1 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. 12-12 Washington versus 13-11 Penn State. I'll put this one up because the cross-country thing, if you believe in that, check this game out. Maybe it'll show. Maybe it'll show that we're all right about this. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 15-9 Jacksonville versus 17-8 Northern Alabama. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Number 12 Texas Tech versus 12-11 Oklahoma State. I don't know what's going on there at Oklahoma State. They're really falling off the basketball map. 2:30 on the SEC Network. This could be a pretty good one here. Number 21 Missouri versus 16-8 Georgia. Georgia needs this win. I mean, they really, really do. On their home court, hey, good chance for them. 3 p.m. ESPN. I don't know if they call this the Iron Bowl too, but anyway, number 1 Auburn versus number 2 Alabama. Good old-fashioned hatred in the state of Alabama. That's probably going to be a damn good game. 3 p.m. on ABC. I didn't know ABC showed college basketball anymore. I thought they always showed a bunch of crap. Anyway, 16-8 Stanford versus number 3 Duke. Stanford, I guess Stanford's staying out there so you don't have to fly back and forth. It'd be a smart thing to do. But do they come off the East Coast 0-2? You have to see. 3 p.m. ESPN2, 14-9 Cincinnati versus number 10 Iowa State. 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 16-8 George Washington versus 14-9 Davidson. 3 p.m. on the Big Ten Network, 12-12 Minnesota versus 13-10 USC. 3 p.m. on the ESPN Plus, 15-10 Queens versus 14-11 Eastern Kentucky. 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus, Jacksonville State versus Louisiana Tech. Both of them are 17-7. That could be a pretty good game. 3:30 on ESPN Plus, 15-10 Nichols versus 16-9 Southeast Louisiana. Good state of Louisiana battle there. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 18-7 Northern Colorado versus 14-10 Portland State. 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 14-11 Florida Gulf Coast versus 17-8 Lipscomb. And you see the records of some of these teams. Some of these teams need to just freaking win out. They're good teams, but they're just not doing it. So, just like I said, these next few weeks are going to be very, very interesting in college basketball. 5 p.m. on ESPN2. I don't know if they call this one the Egg Bowl too, but hey, number 22 Mississippi State goes to Oxford, plays number 19 Ole Miss. 5 p.m. on the ACC Network. 18-6 Wake Forest going to Dallas to play 18-5 SMU. That's probably going to be a really good game. 5 p.m. SEC Network. 12-11 LSU, who needs a win so bad, goes to 16-7 Oklahoma, who needs a win bad. Man, that's both those teams. They might be duking it out because they both need a win very, very bad. 6 p.m. ESPN Plus, 14-10 UC Davis versus 24 UC San Diego. 6 p.m. on Flow, 15-10 Elion versus 20-5 UNC Wilmington. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 15-10 East Tennessee State versus 17-8 Chattanooga. 7 p.m. on Fox. Might be a pretty good game here. Number 11 Michigan State versus 16-8 Illinois. Izzo trying to get past Bob Knight's record. I don't know if that's going to happen in Illinois. I really don't. 7 p.m. on ESPN. Number 15 Kentucky on a high after beating Tennessee. Goes to Austin to play 15-9 Texas, who's pissed off because they lost to Alabama. 7 p.m. on ESPNU. Looks like a decent Ivy League game. 16-6 Princeton versus 14-6 Yale. 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. TCU versus Arizona State. Both of them 12-11. Both desperately need wins in the Big 12. 7 p.m. on ESPN2. 15-9 Troy versus 18-7 Arkansas State. 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 16-8 Santa Barbara versus 16-9 UC Riverside. 7 p.m. on Fox 9 in Minnesota, if you live in Minnesota. 16-10 Omaha versus 19-7 St. Thomas, Minnesota. 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. 16-8 Middle Tennessee State versus 14-10 Western Kentucky. 7:30 on the SEC Network. 10-13 South Carolina. Poor guys. Going to Gainesville to play the number 3 Gators. I just don't think they have a chance. Interesting one coming up here. Unfortunately, it's on ESPN Plus, but if you got it, 8 p.m. ESPN Plus. 12-11 Kansas State, who we just talked about, has been on a roll. Goes to Provo to play 15-8 BYU. Kansas State on a 5-game win streak. They've really turned things around. Can they beat BYU at home? I don't know. It's a shame this one's not on TV so we can see. 8 p.m. ESPN Plus. 19-5 Liberty versus 16-7 UTEP. UTEP kind of fallen off a little bit. 9 p.m. on ESPN. Number 17 Kansas going to Salt Lake City to play 13-10 Utah, who would love to have a win in prime time on their home court. So you know they're going to be fighting like mad to beat Kansas. That could be a really good one. Another really good one, 9 p.m. CBS Sports Network, 17-7 Boise State versus 15-6 San Diego State, playing down there in San Diego. 9 p.m. on ESPN2, 16-10 Washington State versus 21-4 St. Mary's. And at 11 p.m., late night college basketball, if you got Spectrum, 20-4 UC Irvine versus 13-11 Hawaii. That is it. Stay busy. The weekend's going to be here soon, day and a half. We will be back either Sunday or Monday to review everything that happens here in the next few days and then to preview some of the things coming up this week. Like we said, a lot of teams, they need to be winning. They are capable of winning. They're just not doing it for whatever reason, whatever. Injuries, tired, whatever. But now's not the time to lay over and lose games for a lot of these teams. So, like I said, interesting to see what's going to happen here these next couple weeks. Stay busy. The weekend will be here soon. This weekend, stay safe, have fun. We'll see you Sunday or Monday.